Carlson isn't the only public figure who's been letting the mask slip recently. This week, a recording surfaced showing LA County Public Health Director, Dr. Barbara Ferrer, saying that the state's largest county won't reopen its schools until, guess, after the presidential election. In other words, these are political lockdowns. Your kids are pawns of the Democratic Party. Listen.
We don't realistically anticipate that we would be moving to either Tier 2 or to reopening K through 12 schools at least until after the election. It seems to us a more realistic approach to this would be to think that we're going to be where we are now until we are done with the elections.
So officials in L.A. are saying, no, Democrats that's not a big deal. They're saying that Dr. Ferrer just happened to pick the election out of a hat. I just happened to pick it, right? Mark Siegel is a physician. He's a Fox News medical contributor. We're happy to have him on tonight to assess. Doctor?
Tucker, I call this election infection. The election is infecting, right? Not the virus.
Yes.
And in terms of Dr. Ferrer, she's not really a doctor. Like Tedros of the WHO, she calls herself a doctor, but she's not a physician. So I have three things I want her to think about tonight. One is education. The second is public health. The third is money. Dr. Ferrer, education. Can you imagine starting in November? Let's talk about geometry. You start with the square, but never get to the cube. How about American history, Dr. Ferrer? You start with the revolution, but you never get past World War I? And what about public health? What about the interaction between kids? What about having nurses look after the medical issues with kids? What about special needs? What about nutrition? And then thirdly, what about money? Barron's is studying the loss to parents being out of work because of all our schools closing in the United States. It would cost $700 billion to the U.S. economy. Over here in New York, Tucker, we have Mayor de Blasio saying the schools are going to open, the schools are going to be open. But if you look next to him, you see an election countdown calendar. He's got the same thing going on here. And meanwhile, teachers in New York are saying, hey, we got no masks. Hey, we got no protocol. We got no plan in place. How can we possibly reopen? What are we going to do? We're not coming in, the teachers are saying. So, Tucker, I'm not a betting man, but I have a wager tonight that I'd like to share with you. I got a special date in mind when the schools in New York might open. And my bet, I want to see if you agree with this, my bet is November 3rd. Tucker?
Unfortunately, Doctor, I'm not going to take that bet because I think you're probably right. It's great to see you tonight. Thank you for that assessment.
Thank you, Tucker.
Up next.